Hello guys, welcome to 25th episode of Lumion 10 tutorial. In this episode we want to review artistic effects together. So pay attention carefully. Let's use outline effect in order to put emphasis on the lines that we have on the project to give it a sketchy like. And you can customize color variation, transparency, and outline density, and show the main lines of your design. The next one is color correction, which is a huge help in order to get a good render that you want. For example, you are getting a render like that, and in color correction you can change temperature, you can increase or decrease the tint of your render towards green or red. You can change the vibrance to put more emphasis on the colors. You can increase or decrease the brightness, contrast. You can change the saturation as well to take the colors away or give it more colors. And in gamma correction, you can adjust the gamma in your design to give it low contrast or less contrast. In limit low or limit high, you will determine the amount of contrast that you will have in your low colors or in your high colors, and each one of these small adjustment can create something different for you. For example, if you choose night in color correction, you can automatically preset that color correction. The reason that it wasn't applying it was because we had sun in our environment. And as you can see in color correction, everything is automatically set on the night, and this can help your area to be seen and be shown better. For example, if we select overcast, color correction will have a different preset. So these two somewhat are dependent on another, and you can even do that later on in Photoshop, or just do it here. And we have another one which is pastel sketch. And you can create a sketch in this format from your design. And if you change the setting, change the outlines, you can get the result that you want. And these two effects are applied on video. You have image overlay, which you can, for example, use this as a signature on your design. This picture is sized this big, and if you want it to happen correctly, you need to create PNG and create the correct resolution for your design. And using them correctly, preferably, it's better to use them inside Photoshop. So you have some basic setting inside this program as well. And in Sketch, as you can see, you can create a sketch of your design and create something good. Which, for example, this outcome could be something basic in order to do more stuff in Photoshop with them. And you can even mix outlines with the other one as well to create something even better. And as you can see, we've got a good render, which you could mix this with some other things inside Photoshop and gain even something more special. The next part is Sharpen, which you can increase the sharpness of your texture inside your design, like that. Next one is Painting, which will create a painting look of your design. You can change the size, change the style, impression, detail. And in impression you can set how much it will happen. In detail you can say how much detail you want to remain in your painting. Like that. So they are somewhat good as just a beginning effect. And Sketch is the most usage, and color correction is the one that you mostly use in this one. And in Vignette, as you can see, you can create some dark edges for your picture. Like that. And again, if you go in noise, you can add some noise to your design. The size of the noise, the color of the noise, and the intensity of the noise. Again, we have watercolor here, which will give you a watery color sketch. But if you want to get a sketch like that, you can use color sketch from this part, because this one uses a mixture of effect together to create something good. So in here you can remove the color or leave it as it is. Change the contrast, and in the end you can move this inside Photoshop and do more enhances that. And the other part in video, for example, if we have two scenes, so we've created two animation like that. So one movement is to the other side and this one is the opposite. And here you can add some title. You can add text in your design. For example, we set the name for our project. And inside here you can determine where it needs to be started. The duration of the text, input and output, and text size and logo size. And from here you can add different type of texture and background and other effects. For example, if we choose that, it will happen like this. The next one is fade in, fade out, which is somewhat very important. So it will come in black and fade out as black, or blur or white. We can choose any of the settings, and you can set the duration for them as well. Like that. And the second part is we have artistic number 2. Let me get a render. And in artistic number 2 we have bloom. And as you can see, the amount of brightness and bloom in your design. sometimes it can help your design very well. And in Analog Color Lab, you can add style of color for your design. And the amount of it you can reduce or increase. And in Manga, you can give it a manga style to your design. And then you can have a cartoon-like render. Maybe you usually don't use them alone, but they can be helpful. And the next part we have is a styrofoam. And it will give you a replica-like render. And as you can see, you can set how much detail you want to have or how much noise you want to have. And there are lots of times you need this type of render of your design, which you determine how much light you have and show the lights in your design. I usually use this in the diagrams that I have in projects. You can even change the colors. And here you have selective saturation, which, for example, when you move it, you can determine one color and decrease the saturation or increase the saturation, the darkness, the range of it, and other settings. So when you change the top, you will change the selection of the color. I prefer to use Photoshop for that one. In Bleach, you can reduce the color. And in Cartoon, which, as it says, will give it a cartoon-like effect to your design. Maybe it's good for animation. And pay attention, if you mix a couple of effects together, maybe that will give you a better outcome. For example, when we set cartoon and when we move, you can set a key point for each effect. Let's see which one is better. And you can use key point for each one of these effects, as I said. For example, let me choose one of these. To see which one we can use. For example, let's go to the end of the design, and the end will happen like that, and the beginning will be like that. And set the pattern. And when it moves, you can see the change happening. And we have blueprint here, which you can click and go to the end of your design and set it like that. So now, see how interesting of an effect this one is. It shows the process to the end render that we have. Like that. Until here, we can even change the grids, but I don't see the necessity of it. It's better for me to remove this first, and we can increase the size of the grids and change them like that. And anyway, we can very easily get a good style for animation. And in this part we have material highlight, which is a very interesting one. We can choose class and it can show the glass in our render. We can change the style. And the glass in our project can blink and set the style like that. The reason that it's not showing is because you need to get a render first. And here in Master Highlight we show the bricks. And remember, this is working as a layer. To the next one, it will glow like that. And you can use this setting for showing your materials in your projects. Oil painting, as it says, it will make it look like an oil painting. So this is a normal render, and as we move to the end, it could go like this. Like that. And as it moves, the details are slowly being added to our design. Try to learn these effects and work with them and get different results with them and practice them. Share your stuff with me online as always, and be well.